Hey Scorpio, welcome to Sweet Tea Astrology and Tarot. My name is Erica. Welcome to the channel. I'm so glad that you found me. This is your February 2017 astrology video where I also intend on pulling some tarot cards for you and 2 oracle cards, one from 2 separate decks. So why don't you sit a spell, Scorpio, so we can talk about your stars. Alright, on February 3rd or 4th, depending on where you live on the planet, Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and harmony, also money and resources, is moving into Aries to meet up with Mars and Uranus. This is in your 6th house. The 6th house is ruled by Virgo, and it's the house of work and health, or competency and skills that you bring to the services that you provide. It also deals with your daily agenda, your daily to-do list, and just your daily grind. So if it's not work, it's health or your day-to-day life. But Venus moving in this area means things are going to get a lot more charming. Things will get easier. There will be an ease to work and health for you or your day-to-day. Things will just be moving a little bit more smoothly for you in your day-to-day agenda as well. Now on the 7th or 8th of the month, depending on where you live on the planet, Mercury, the planet of thought, movement, and communication, is moving into Aquarius, meeting up with the Sun. This is your 4th house. The 4th house is ruled by Cancer. It's the house of your home and your family, or your roots and foundations. Home is where you live or where you consider home to be. Family is who you share that home with. That can be your spouse, your partner. That can be your parents. That can be your children, your fur babies, house guests, roommates, or housemates. Or your internal structure, bones, or philosophies as well. Your internal roots or foundation. Or external, like that of a home, roots or foundation. So, and being a water sign, if it's not within the family or the home, like possible leaking, and you're not getting information about your family, then check around your home for leaks, because this occurring in the 4th house, being ruled by Cancer, could mean that you're dealing with leaky bathroom fixtures, or leaks in the house, or leaking outside or something. Just check. On the 10th or 11th of the month, depending on where you live on the planet, we are going to be experiencing a lunar eclipse at 22 degrees of Leo. This is occurring in your 10th house. The Sabian symbol that is associated with 22 degrees of Leo is, in a circus, the bareback rider displays her dangerous skill. Sabian symbols were created by a clairvoyant psychic named Elsie Wheeler, and they're used to represent 0 to 30 degrees of each zodiac sign of the astrological wheel. And when I was meditating on this, I thought of a still frame image of a bareback rider in the middle of a circus doing some really dangerous tricks on a horse. And I thought about the poise and the grace and the determination and the tenacity, and just sheer athletic ability of being able to ride this horse bareback and be able to stay in the appropriate position and sitting up properly and maintaining your own body weight, and all of that takes effort, and it's a struggle. It's a skill that has to be very honed, and you literally are becoming one with that horse, and that really becomes very synchronistic with the second Sabian symbol for the solar eclipse at the end of the month, and it also brings to mind vibratory echoes of the Saturn square Neptune issues that we dealt with through 2016, and I'll get more into that in a second. The 10th house where this lunar eclipse will be occurring. Lunar eclipses are associated with female energy, so it could be involving a female. But this energy is associated with endings, closures, resolutions, um, dealing with changes that are not necessarily always foreseen. Sometimes it can be a big shock to the system, especially if you are living day to day and not paying attention to the bigger cycles or the bigger stories in your world. And some people do that. There's no judgment here. But that 10th house is ruled by Capricorn. It's your career, your status, your reputation. It's also dealing with the authorities. It's authorities in your world. It's authorities in their field, like an expert, or just authorities in general. It's also the house of destiny. So a lunar eclipse occurring here could be dealing with a female energy, possibly moving away, going away, changing jobs, something to that effect, impacting your career or impacting your status or your reputation. Your status and your reputation are also things that can be changed, like going from being single to in a relationship to it's complicated to married to separated, and that entire spectrum of all of those different things that you could say your relationship status would be. And your reputation is something that can change as well. It would be like going from being a couple to being parents of a newborn. Or just how you're known, or how you're how people know you. Your reputation, if you're a small business owner or you're a business owner, your reputation in the community. Your status is something that is fluid and can change as well. But this lunar eclipse is ushering in some sort of change, and it may be something that you aren't foreseeing. If you're a Scorpio and you're watching this, chances are you're feeling it coming, or you will when it gets closer. Really depends on how in tune you are. But moving right along, on the 18th or 19th of the month, depending on where you live on the planet, we're going to have the Sun moving into Pisces, meeting up with Neptune. This is occurring in your 5th house, and for the rest of the month, the only thing I'm really going to be talking about is the 5th house. So you're going to get sick of hearing me say, it's the house of Leo, it's the house of the artist, it's the house of the creative spark, it's the house of romance and dating and pleasure seeking in your social circles, and it's the rec room. It's where you go to blow off steam. It's going out with friends. It's it's the house of your social circles. It's your creative and artistic abilities are governed in this house as well. So the Sun moving into the 5th house, it could be that you are meeting somebody who you are really starting to fancy. Which would be interesting. Moving further into the month, if it's not someone that you fancy, then you could be just having a much more social time in your world as well. But moving further down into the month, the 25th or 26th of the month, there's a couple of things going on. The first being a solar eclipse at 8 degrees of Pisces. The solar eclipse is a new beginning in that house of the creative spark. So it's a creative spark within the house of creative sparks. So if you're an artist or you like doing art, then you will have a lot of really powerful energy moving through this 5th house for you for about a 6-month window of time. Utilize it. If you're a single Scorpio, you could be falling in love. If you are a coupled Scorpio, you may be making a baby. Or you may be starting to craft, or you may be finding a new group of people to hang out with. The possibilities are truly endless. But this solar eclipse is occurring in that 5th house. It's going to be heavily Neptunian influenced. Neptune is the planet of nebulousness, illusion, and imagination. It's also the planet that represents addiction. And in the 5th house, where you seek your pleasure and you blow off your steam, that is the house of going out with your friends. Just be careful if you are imbibing to not drink and drive. Be responsible, please. And if it's not in that regard and you aren't looking to have children, then be responsible. Be a responsible adult if you're having sex, especially if you're doing it with multiple partners. Sorry for getting real like that, but we're Scorpios. I'm a Scorpio rising, and we're very susceptible to those kinds of energies. Just be careful. Now, the Sabian symbol that is associated with the solar eclipse at 8 degrees of Pisces is a jockey spurs his horse, intent on outdistancing his rivals. And if you look at these two Sabian symbols, it's dealing with people riding on horseback. One is a skilled bareback rider in a circus. The other is a jockey trying to win a horse race. What I meditated on for this second Sabian symbol was pretty much what I came up with for the first one. The grace, the poise, the skill, the determination, the sheer athletic ability. But it went a little further because it was truly about these individuals, these horseback riders, becoming one with the horse. And when you think of man and horse becoming one, that's a centaur. And the centaur is a symbol of Sagittarius. And Saturn is transiting through Sagittarius right now. And this is where the synchronicity between the Saturn square Neptune vibrations comes in. Because we're having all of this energy go through Pisces, where Neptune has been for quite some time. I feel like these eclipses are going to be peppered and flavored with vibratory echoes of the Saturn square Neptune lessons and issues that were brought up throughout 2016. I think that we're going to be revisiting issues around those situations. We could be dealing with closures on some and new beginnings from those closures in other parts. It's interesting how our worlds shift around these eclipses. But on the very same day, the 25th or 26th of the month, depending on where you live on the planet, we've got Mercury moving into Pisces as well, joining up with the Sun and Neptune in the 5th house. It could be that you are dealing with somebody who is not keeping it in their lane. That can be actually on the road. That could be you not keeping it in your lane on the road. But it could be somebody possibly giving you a message, or you getting word of someone who maybe has a crush on you, or you start having more discussion in your social sphere. Could be people wanting to go out drinking more, to be completely honest with you. Just really depends on what's going on in your personal sphere. These are general readings. So Scorpio, that's what's going on for you for the month of February. What I'm going to do now is transition over to the cards. And what I'm going to do before I start shuffling on camera for you is show you some boxes. I'm going to pull you an oracle card from the Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle deck. I'm also going to pull you a card from the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild. The artwork is by Autumn Sky Morrison, and it's a real fan favorite of many people who watch this channel. I happen to love that deck. It is one of my most favorite, and to be completely honest with you, it was one of the first Oracle decks I ever purchased for myself online. All of the other ones that I had gotten up to that point were in-person purchases. And what was interesting was it's like that deck actually really kind of called to me while I was looking at it online. But Scorpio, while I shuffle, I want to take this time to remind you that this is a general reading. So if the messages that I am giving you or bringing forth to you aren't resonating, that's fine. You are more than just a Scorpio. And if anybody in the zodiac knows that, you do. You've got a little bit of each piece of the zodiac in you because we each have 12 houses that are each ruled by a different zodiac sign. Now, if you don't know much about astrology, you've got more than just your sun sign. You've got a moon sign, a rising sign, many other planet signs. But the top three that I would suggest watching are your sun, your moon, and your rising. And if I had to put them in order, I would say your sun, your rising, and your moon. Or your rising, your sun, and your moon. Just depends. If you don't know what your natal chart looks like, I invite you to Google the words free natal chart and type in your birth information and generate a birth chart. If you can't figure out where the rising sign or the moon sign is, you can send me a screenshot of your chart and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible with the rising and moon sign placements for you, because I feel like that's something everybody should know about themselves, so you can watch videos to empower yourself, not just mine but other people on YouTube, because I feel as though forewarned is forearmed, and I think that is information we all should know about ourselves. I've used astrology not just as predictive but also as a psychological tool for psychoanalysis of myself, and it has helped me in a tremendous way. And if anybody can understand or dig what I'm talking about, it would be my Scorpios. But post-fire, I didn't seek medical treatment for my mental health issues, mainly because I didn't have insurance, if I'm being completely 100% real with you. But I knew that I was deeply, deeply fucked in my head over what had happened. And honestly, I was pretty fucked, not even in my head, but not just because of the fire, but because of a lot of the things that had occurred during my life up until that point. And it's helped me move past and heal a lot of things. I was very much, very, very, very much a very low vibrational Scorpio rising up until the fire. And then I burst through like the phoenix rising from the ashes. And I still rise, but Lord have mercy. I was stinging the hell out of myself for a long time. Just not understanding and feeling like the world was punishing me for something that I was doing. And that's not the case at all. Life happens around you and you just happen to be collateral damage sometimes. And that sounds really, really harsh, but it's, once again, if anybody can understand and get it, it would be my Scorpios. So, I've rambled enough. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and cut the deck. I can't remember. I'm sorry it's late. I can't remember if I gave the email for that natal chart or not. But if you want to shoot me an email of your natal chart, shoot me an email of a screenshot of your natal chart. You can send it to sweettastro@gmail.com. Sorry about that. Now, I'm going to take the bottom card to represent the underlying theme or the overarching energy of this spread, and I'm going to pull the top three for clarity. And now, I'm going to grab the Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle deck, give it a couple of shuffles for my Scorpio viewers and friends, and pull you a card from this deck as well. And now the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck. Gonna cut. Okay. Now, Scorpio, what I'm going to do is hit the pause button, flip these cards over, do the tarot math, and I'll be right back with your story. Hang tight, y'all. Hey, Scorpio, I'm back with your cards, so let's get started. The underlying theme or overarching energy for you is the Two of Swords. The 2 represents, for me, the astrological second house, which is ruled by the zodiac sign of Taurus. It represents your money, your values, your possessions, your earning ability, your self-esteem. Anything you could point to or identify as, introduce as mine, would probably qualify under the second house energy. That includes your relationships because you introduce your partner to others as my significant other. The swords represent air sign energy. The air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. What's interesting is there's some synchronicity with the Libra reading. The Sacred Rebels Oracle card that fell for you also fell for Libra. So there may be some messages in that video for you as well. Or you may be dealing with someone in your world that is a Libra. I feel like the moon is going to heavily influence you this month. I feel like the lunar eclipse is going to be quite powerful for you. And it feels like it's probably going to be a decision of the mind as to which way you are going to go. And I feel as though, especially with you being a Scorpio, following your gut would be the best way to go. She's not looking for facts at this point. All of her information gathering is over. It's a decision that must be weighed. And I feel like following your intuition or following your gut would be the best for you. Especially with all the water in the background. Being a Scorpio, you are a water sign. The first card that you received in the top 3 for clarity is a Major Arcana card. You received 2 Major Arcanas. The first is the Judgment card. This is the 20th card of the Major Arcana. 2 plus 0 is 2, and that's that Taurus-ruled house of money, value, self-esteem, earning ability, and your possessions. The things that you want close to you, that you want to know where they're at, and down to the last penny where it's going. The Judgment card is representative of the planet Pluto. Pluto is a planet of deep renewal and deep transformation. This is long term. This is like coastal erosion. It happens every day, but you don't see the effects until looking at time-lapse photography or something to that effect, before and after. The Judgment card indicates transformation, evaluation, or summing up of issues. Now, Pluto is transiting through your 3rd house and will be there for quite some time. Pluto transiting through the 3rd house means that you are deeply transforming the way that you communicate. There has probably been some issues with your vehicle or your communication devices. The way that you interpret things or the way people interpret you. There's probably been a lot of transformation in dealing with your siblings, cousins, and neighbors, or the people in your neighborhood. But this is an evaluation or a re-evaluation of those communication processes. This is a re-evaluation of how you interact with those other people. And this is a summing up of what is working and what is not. It could also be, for some of you Scorpios, that you are getting messages. And if you want to understand a little bit more what I'm talking about with that, I released a video. Well, I haven't released it, but I shot it, and I will be releasing it, talking about the crazy weekend that I had. And the messages that I received. The second card that you received is another major arcana. And this is the Scorpio card, believe it or not. The 13th card of the major arcana, the death card. 1 plus 3 is 4. And that speaks to the Cancerian ruled house of your home and your family, or the roots and foundations, either internal or external, however they apply. Home is where you live or where you consider home to be, and family is who you share that home with. That can be your parents, your spouse, your partner, fur babies, children, house guests, roommates, housemates. Could also speak to your internal roots and foundation or your external roots and foundation. Internal roots or foundation would be like your bones for your structure and foundation, or your philosophies as more a spiritual philosophy foundation. External foundation and roots would be the roots in your ground because of the trees close by or something to that effect. Vegetation with deep roots, or the foundation of your home. So, now, Cancer is a water sign. We're a water sign. The death card is representative of Scorpio, which is an intense sign. And this is heralding deep transformation, and it's actually major transformation. The last planet that transited, or we've had personal planets transit through, but the bigger guys, we're waiting on Jupiter to move in October, but the last major planet that we hosted was Saturn, and that was back 2012 through till the end of 2014, and then Saturn revisited during the summer of 2015, I believe. Mars did a retrograde from Sagittarius into Scorpio and back during the period of April and May of 2016. But there's been some major transformations going on in your world, and there has been for a while. Saturn tipped it off, but it's been like a domino effect. One change leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and it feels like that's where that transformation's coming in. And if you look at the way it's like, this is the horse and this is the carriage. Death and judgment. Probably dealing with home and finances or possessions as well, which really hits quite home for me because the fire was a big hit to my money and resources and possessions and my home. And it was very much a situation of near death. So that speaks very loudly to me personally. But for you, it may be home situations where you're dealing with the loss of a parent, or you're dealing with the loss of possibly a relationship. But there's been lots of deep transformation, a lot of deep changing, because Saturn is right now transiting through our second house, Scorpio. So, the third card that I pulled for you is the Seven of Wands. The 7 represents the 7th house on the astrological wheel for me, and that is ruled by Libra. Once again, it's important that I say that because Libra is showing up synchronistically for you in the house placement of this card, but also because of the Sacred Rebels Oracle card that I pulled for you that we will get to in a moment. That 7th house is the house of your partnerships and relationships and how you identify who you are as a human being through those interactions with others. It also covers and governs counseling and also open enemies. Now, you aren't having any open or direct 7th house energy per se, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be playing out in your world in some other way. You've got a lot of 5th house energy, and that's dealing with your social groups, and that is very much a part of your partnerships and your relationships. The wands represent fire sign energy. The fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Something of note, Aries is going to be playing host to Venus going retrograde in the sky throughout March and April. So you're going to want to watch that 6th house of work and health as well. I feel like this card is very much a card of just standing your ground, defending your territory, being on the defensive, feeling as though you're being attacked or judged in one way or another. But this could also be like a debate card where you're dealing with different ideas being thrown at you and you're trying to knock them back. This could also be just dealing with a lot of messages coming your way and trying to handle that, stay on top of it as well. As opposed to hurting the people in your world, just say that you've had enough and walk away. Winning an argument isn't worth it in the long run, truly. It's taken me a little bit, but I have to ask myself before I engage in an argument now as to, will me winning this make my world better a year from now? And if I can't answer yes, then what's the point of exerting the energy at that point? It has to be something pretty important. Whereas before, I would fight you for the hell of fighting you, because that's just the way I rolled. I was a very angry person. I was very hurt. I was very bitter. And I'm working past that, slowly but surely. Like I said, I was that scorpion that stung the hell out of myself. So, I did the tarot math for you. Ended up being 42 total. 4 plus 2 is 6. And that is speaking to that 6th house where Venus will be moving in at the very beginning of February. And Venus will be going retrograde in the same area in March and April. We also have Uranus in the 6th house, so it's shocks and surprises and changes and liberation and rebellion as well. And could also be dealing with internet communication. So, there's that. Now, let's move on to the Oracle card, shall we? The Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle card that I pulled for you is the Moss Agate card. This deals with stability, persistence, and grounding. It can help heal and amplify the vibrations of the heart and root chakras. This card reads, Moss Agate is the stone of nature's peace and abundance. It reminds you that there is always a silver lining to each cloud. You have pulled this card as a reminder to be resilient in the pursuit of your higher purpose, to embrace the grounding, calm, and stable energy of Mother Earth along the way. Meditate with Moss Agate to balance mood swings, instill patience, and build a better determination to handle life's challenges. And the second card that was pulled for you is the After the Storm card. This is the first card of the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck. That first, the number 1, speaks to that first house in the astrological wheel, which is ruled by Aries, and it's the house of the physical embodiment of who you are and how the world sees you. It's your physical body. It's your appearance. It's your personality. Notice the moon in the background. Also, if you feel so led, I would encourage you to Google spirit, the owl spirit animal totem meaning. The owl symbology has extra resonant messages for you. For me personally, the owl represents wisdom, seeking knowledge, finding higher knowledge, or understanding deeper knowledge or deeper truths. Also being a bird of prey, being able to see things from an elevated perspective. and have that keen insight and that keen sensibility, and able to perceive things that not being able to perceive things that the untrained eye wouldn't be able to catch. That's what I'm trying to say. This after the storm card always makes me think you are under a thunderstorm warning, or you're under a storm warning, that this is that news weather alert bulletin that you're getting before, and this is really ushering in or heralding the changes that are coming through eclipse season. Understand that there can be no rainbows without the rain, and sometimes those rainbows are born out of very violent thunderstorms. If you've been praying and asking for help, this is confirmation that the universe is going to be stepping forward and into your world and shaking things up to allow room and space for your life and your circumstances to change. And it may feel very dramatic. Eclipses can feel very dramatic, especially if you aren't paying attention to the bigger stories and the bigger cycles in your life. Once again, no judgment. Some people don't see from that perspective. Now allow this storm to cleanse you and renew you, and allow the storm to rage within you and release it. You can be in your emotions, but don't hold on to them. Release them. Allow the storm to run its course, because there's no hiding from it. There's just letting it pass. And it'll have to pass over you. Do not fear this storm. Allow it to clear your path. Allow it to brush away what needs to be brushed away. Allow it to blow away what needs to be blown away. Allow it to expose what it needs to expose. But do not allow this storm to swallow you whole either. Scorpio, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you already have, I thank you from the bottom of my very grateful heart. I hope you're well. Please take care of yourself and be kind to yourself, and save some of that kindness for others, because we're all going through private battles in our world some of us may never speak about to another living soul. I'll be around in the mid-month to pull some extra cards for you, and I hope I can pull off something for you to speak of Valentine's Day, the eclipses, and the Venus retrograde. We'll see if I can't squeeze all of the time out of January that I can. I hope you're well. Please take care. And until next time, Scorpio, namaste and bye, y'all.